Alex had been waiting for this moment for weeks. Moving into a new apartment on the Epsilon 3 space colony was exciting, even if the rent was higher than anything he had ever paid on Earth. The corridor of the building smelled faintly of antiseptic and recycled air, a common scent in high-tech off-world colonies. Alex carried his boxers carefully, occasionally glancing at the digital displays above each door. That showed the apartment numbers and the status of the residents inside. When he reached the door labeled 7B, he hesitated. The label was not just a number. It felt like a new chapter waiting to be written. He inserted the colony ID key, and the door slid open with a smooth hiss. The apartment was modest but clean, filled with sleek metal furniture, automated lights, and a few potted plants that seemed to survive on hydroponic systems. There was a smell in the air, faint but unusual, like a mix of flowers and something slightly metallic. Alex shrugged. Alien roommates would probably have strange habits. "Hi," a voice called from the living room. Alex turned quickly to see Herwell. It was a her, though her appearance was unlike any human he had ever seen. Lyra's skin shimmered slightly in the apartment light, a soft pearlescent glow that seemed to ripple as she moved. Her eyes were large, almond-shaped, and golden, reflecting curiosity and amusement. A few thin, flexible tendrils of hair floated slightly around her head, almost as if they were weightless. She smiled, showing small, pointed teeth, and gestured to the couch. "Welcome to the apartment," she said, her voice melodic but with a slight echo. Like a musical note bouncing inside a hollow space, Alex smiled nervously. "Thanks, I'm Alex. I hope I'm not disturbing you." Lyra shook her head. "Not at all. I'm Lyra. I live here full-time. I don't get many roommates, actually. You are new." Alex nodded, stepping inside. The apartment was bigger than he expected, and he noticed small compartments along the walls, some of which hummed softly with alien energy. Lyra seemed to notice his gaze. "They're just storage units," she said. "Some things are fragile. Some things are necessary during certain periods." She hesitated, almost shyly. "You will learn," Alex gave a small laugh. "I'm a fast learner, I think." For the first hour, they talked mostly about the apartment and colony rules. Alex learned that Lyra was from Theron, a planet known for its strict environmental zones and highly adaptive alien species. She seemed perfectly normal if you ignored the glowing skin, the floating hair, and the way she could bend slightly without moving her joints. Alex felt a strange mix of awe and curiosity. He tried not to stare. By the time he unpacked the last of his boxes, the colony had issued an emergency alert. A massive solar storm was approaching the sector, forcing all residents to remain inside their apartments until further notice. No travel, no exceptions. The automated doors sealed, and communication channels buzzed with updates about the lockdown. Alex groaned. He had been looking forward to exploring the colony and meeting other residents, but now he was trapped. And trapped with Lyra. "Looks like we're stuck here for a while," Lyra said, her tendrils twitching in a curious rhythm. "Yeah," Alex replied. "I guess so." He tried to hide his apprehension. Being stuck with someone or something alien for days could be unpredictable at first. Life was tolerable. Alex unpacked, organized his small corner of the apartment, tried to act natural around Lyra, but he started noticing strange patterns. Lyra would adjust the temperature constantly, flicking a panel with her hand that sent gentle waves through the air. She ate only specific foods, chewing slowly, almost ritualistically. And sometimes she would pause mid-step, her body trembling slightly, as if responding to an internal signal. Alex didn't understand it. He assumed it was just part of her biology, maybe something related to Theron customs. He tried to stay out of her way. By the third day, Lyra's behavior became more noticeable. She paced frequently, her tendrils quivering like antennae, and she sometimes let out low melodic hums that filled the apartment. Alex was growing concerned, but he didn't know how to approach it without offending her. He sat at the kitchen table, watching as she adjusted the lights and temperature again. "Are you okay?" he asked cautiously. Lyra turned to him, her golden eyes locking onto his. "I feel strange. It happens sometimes." Her voice was soft, hesitant, It will pass, but it can be overwhelming. Alex frowned. Strange how. She hesitated, then took a deep breath. It is biological. My species has cycles. During certain times, my body reacts in ways that humans might find intense. I call it heat. Alex blinked. He had heard the term in alien biology reports but never experienced it personally. He didn't know what to say. Lyra seemed to sense his discomfort. Do not worry. You are safe. But during this period, I require calm, routine, and understanding. It is difficult. The next few hours were tense. Alex tried to keep the apartment quiet, avoiding loud movements and bright lights. He offered her water, watched her carefully, and tried to anticipate her needs without being intrusive. It was exhausting just observing. By nightfall, Lyra's restlessness grew. The apartment seemed to pulse with her energy. Small objects vibrating subtly on their surfaces, the air warm in pockets around her. Alex found himself standing a few feet away, unsure whether to sit, leave, or just watch. Alex, Lyra said suddenly, her voice almost whispering, "Stay close, but not too close." Alex froze. Okay, he didn't move. Her eyes softened. It is confusing for you, I know. I feel everything strongly. My emotions, my instincts, they are amplified. You must understand your presence helps, but do not touch unless I indicate. Otherwise, it may startle me. Alex nodded, though his mind raced. He had never dealt with anything like this. On Earth, roommates argued about chores or noise. Here he was living with a being whose body and mind were entirely alien, reacting to instincts he could barely comprehend. Hours passed. Alex tried reading, tried meditating, and even attempted to sleep, but every small sound, every flicker of light made him tense. Lyra moved about, sometimes humming, sometimes pausing, and staring at a wall. Alex observed, noting patterns, learning what triggered calm versus agitation. It was during one of these pauses that Alex realized something profound. Despite the strangeness, despite the intensity, Lyra was trusting him. She allowed him into her personal space, sharing a vulnerability that few humans ever revealed. It made Alex feel a mix of awe and responsibility. Around midnight, Lyra finally sat on the couch, curling slightly as if the world had grown too heavy to bear. Alex remained nearby, careful not to disturb her.
You're
patient, Lyra said softly. Humans. I did not expect patience like yours. Others might have fled. Others might. Panic. Alex shook his head. I'm not leaving. We're stuck here anyway. He smiled weakly. I might as well learn how to help. Her glow softened slightly, and her tendrils slowed their twitching. She seemed to relax in his presence, though Alex could still sense the undercurrent of her biological cycle. Like a storm contained in a glass, as the night stretched on, Alex realized something important. Understanding an alien life form wasn't just about biology or logic. It was about empathy, observation, and trust. And he had all three in that moment. By the time dawn approached, the apartment was quiet except for the soft hum of the air system. Lyra had dozed lightly, a rare state of calm for her during this period. Alex sat nearby, exhausted but alert, thinking about the days ahead. The lockdown might last longer, and Lyra's heat cycles could repeat. He had no idea what challenges awaited, but for the first time, he felt capable. He had a plan. And more than that, he realized something about humanity, about himself. Humans had a unique ability to adapt, to care, and to face the unfamiliar with curiosity and compassion. In the alien glow of Lyra's apartment, with strange noises and energy pulses surrounding him, Alex felt proud of that capacity. He didn't know what the future held. He didn't know how many cycles or challenges lay ahead, but he knew he could handle it. Because, even in the strangest circumstances, even with beings completely unlike him, humans could learn, protect, and connect. And that was exactly what Alex intended to do. The solar storm raged outside, sealing the colony in darkness, but inside apartment 7B, A human and an alien were beginning to understand each other. One was learning patience, the other learning trust, and together, they were facing the first of many tests that would define their unlikely friendship. The next morning, the apartment felt warmer than usual. Alex awoke to the soft glow of Lyra's pearlescent skin radiating across the room. She was sitting at the kitchen counter, carefully arranging her breakfast, strange fruits that pulsed faintly with light, and a liquid that shimmered like liquid metal. Alex rubbed his eyes and got up, trying not to make a sound that might disturb her. "Good morning," he said quietly. Lyra turned, her large golden eyes reflecting both exhaustion and intensity. "Morning," she replied. Sleep was helpful, but brief. My body is restless. It wishes to move, to adjust. But there are limitations here. Alex nodded, still half asleep. "You want me to help? Or just stay out of your way?" She tilted her head slightly. "Both. I require calm, but I also need guidance in some matters. You have observed, yes." "I have," Alex said cautiously. "I think I understand some of what you need." Lyra's tendrils twitched slightly. "You have patience. That is rare. I will allow guidance, though mistakes are inevitable. Do not be afraid." The lockdown had been extended. The colony announced that the solar storm was stronger than expected and could last several more days. Alex realized that he and Lyra were trapped together, with no outside help. He began to understand the challenge more clearly. Lyra's heat cycles were unpredictable. Without access to her usual devices or medications, he would have to improvise. By mid-morning, Lyra's restlessness became more pronounced. She moved around the apartment in short bursts, touching walls, adjusting lights, and occasionally letting out low, melodic hums. Alex observed silently, trying to understand what actions calmed her and what triggered agitation. He noticed that certain patterns of light made her pause, and some sounds seemed to startle her. He quickly began making notes in his mind, thinking of ways to create a stable environment. Using a combination of dim lighting, ambient sound controls, and rearranged furniture, he tried to give her more control over the apartment. "You are thorough," Lyra said, watching him work. "Most humans would not notice these details." "I've learned to notice," Alex replied, adjusting a small panel on the wall to diffuse the light further. "It helps me understand you. And I. Want to help?" Lyra's eyes softened, but she didn't speak immediately. Her body trembled slightly as she adjusted the temperature controls, maintaining the warm, gentle environment she preferred. Alex felt the subtle pulse of her energy in the room, a wave that made him slightly dizzy but also more attentive. The hours passed slowly. Alex tried to keep a routine, offering food and water, monitoring her reactions, and keeping distractions to a minimum. But he quickly realized that even small mistakes could escalate. One time, a cupboard door banged shut unexpectedly, and Lyra jumped, her hum turning into a sharp sound of discomfort. Alex rushed to soothe her, explaining in calm words and gentle gestures, trying not to alarm her further. She calmed down after a few minutes, curling slightly on the couch and letting out a soft sigh. "Your calmness is helpful," she admitted. "I did not expect it. Humans usually panic or leave." Alex smiled. "I'm not leaving. You're stuck with me." Despite the tension, moments of levity appeared. During one attempt to rearrange the furniture to make her feel more comfortable, Alex tripped over a low table and tumbled into a pile of cushions. Lyra paused, and for a brief moment, her tendrils twitched as if she were amused. "You are clumsy," she said softly, and Alex laughed, the sound echoing strangely in the apartment. "It's part of my charm," he said, brushing himself off. By evening, the intensity of Lyra's heat cycle increased. She moved faster, her body almost vibrating with energy, and the air around her felt warmer. Alex realized this was the peak of her cycle, the time when careful observation and quick responses were most crucial. He tried to anticipate her needs, keeping water and food nearby, adjusting lights and temperature, and maintaining silence whenever she paused. At one point, a sudden power fluctuation triggered the emergency lights, bathing the room in harsh red. Lyra flinched, her tendrils rising and quivering. Alex acted immediately, reaching for the control panel to stabilize the lighting. "It's okay," he said calmly. "I've got it." Lyra's hum turned into a soft, tremulous sound, her body slowly relaxing as the light returned to normal. She moved to the couch and sat down, curling her arms around herself. Alex sat nearby, unsure if he should speak or simply wait. "You are patient," Lyra whispered again. "I did not expect this. Most beings would react poorly to my condition. You endure it." Alex shook his head. "I'm just doing what I can. We're stuck here together. I'd rather learn and help than make it worse." Her eyes reflected a mixture of gratitude and something deeper trust. Alex felt a warmth in his chest, a sense of connection that transcended species or biology. Despite the strangeness, despite the challenges, he realized they were forming a bond based on understanding and empathy. The night brought new challenges. Lyra's movements became more erratic, and Alex had to anticipate every step. At one point, she began pacing rapidly, and the hum of her body filled the apartment. Alex realized she needed physical engagement to release energy safely. He cleared a small space in the living room and allowed her to move freely, ensuring nothing breakable was nearby. "You create space," she said as she moved. "That is helpful. I can exist without fear of damage." Alex nodded. "You have to be able to move. I'll make sure it's safe." Alex monitored her closely, adjusting lights, temperature, and ambient sound. He noticed small patterns. Deep breaths slowed her movements. Certain frequencies of sound encouraged calm, and rhythmic gestures seemed to soothe her. He implemented these observations, carefully guiding her without touching, letting her autonomy remain intact. By early morning, Lyra's peak began to subside. She sat on the couch, exhausted but calmer, her tendrils settling back into a relaxed position. Alex felt relief wash over him. He had managed the situation without incident, and Lyra seemed to trust him even more. "You are remarkable," she said softly, her voice quiet but sincere. "I did not expect a human to manage this. Most flee or fail." Alex shrugged, though he felt proud. "I'm just paying attention, that's all." Lyra's eyes reflected the faint light of the early morning. "It is more than that. You adapt, you observe, and you care. That is human strength. You remind me that not all humans are fragile." Alex smiled, feeling a deep sense of accomplishment. Despite the chaos, despite the fear and uncertainty, he had proven something to himself and to Lyra. Humans could face the unknown, understand the unfamiliar, and provide care and empathy across species. The solar storm outside continued to rage, but inside apartment 7B, a human and an alien had survived a challenging day. They had faced biological cycles, emotional intensity, and confinement together. And in the process, they had formed a bond that neither had expected. By the time the colony released an update that the solar storm would last a few more days, Alex felt ready. He had learned the patterns, the triggers, and the ways to help Lyra through her cycles. He had become a patient observer, a careful guide, and a trusted presence in the alien apartment. Lyra stretched slightly, her glow soft and steady now. "Tomorrow will bring new challenges," she said, "but I feel less fear. You have helped me." Alex nodded. "We'll handle it together, one step at a time." As he lay down on his cot, exhausted but satisfied, Alex reflected on the day. It had been intense, filled with unexpected challenges, but he had learned a lot not just about Lyra, but about himself. Humans had the ability to face the unfamiliar with patience, creativity, and empathy. They could build trust across species, even in confined spaces during crises. The apartment was quiet now, the hum of the air system the only sound. Lyra had dozed lightly, her cycles temporarily managed. Alex felt a sense of calm, knowing that he had adapted to a situation that would have overwhelmed most people. He had proven that humans could endure, understand, and connect even with beings whose biology and instincts were entirely alien. Outside, the solar storm raged, but inside, a human and an alien had found equilibrium. They had survived the peak of chaos and were ready for whatever the next day would bring. Alex knew the challenge wasn't over, but he felt confident. He had learned the rules of this strange dance, and he was ready to continue. And as the first light of the colony's artificial dawn filtered through the apartment, Alex realized something profound. Humanity's strength lay not just in technology or intelligence, but in patience, empathy, and the ability to care for others, even the most alien of beings. Tomorrow, the challenge would continue. But tonight, he had won a small but significant victory. He had proven that even in the strangest circumstances, humans could learn, adapt, and provide support when it mattered most. Lyra's soft hums filled the apartment as she slept, and Alex drifted into a light, careful sleep, knowing that the next cycle of her heat would come. But now, he was ready, and that readiness, human adaptability, patience, and understanding was something no alien biology could intimidate. The days that followed were a mixture of routine and unpredictability. Alex had begun to understand Lyra's cycles better, noting small cues that signaled changes in her mood, energy, and biological rhythm. The lockdown continued, with the solar storm raging outside, trapping all residents in their apartments. While many humans were frustrated, Alex found a sense of purpose in helping Lyra navigate her condition. Lyra moved with a restless energy during the peak of her cycle. Alex had learned that creating safe spaces and maintaining calm environmental conditions helped immensely. He adjusted lights, regulated temperature, and ensured there were no sudden noises that could startle her. At first, these actions felt like mere observation, but over time, Alex realized he was doing much more. He was building trust, providing comfort, and forming a bond that transcended language, species, or biology. One morning, Lyra paused mid-step, her tendrils quivering slightly. Alex noticed immediately. He approached carefully, maintaining a safe distance, and spoke in calm, gentle tones. "Do you need water or something to eat?" She shook her head slowly, her glowing skin dimming slightly. "Neither. I require stillness, but I cannot achieve it alone." Alex nodded. He moved to the corner of the room, adjusting the temperature and softening the lighting further. He played a gentle hum through the apartment's sound system, a tune that mimicked frequencies he had observed during her calmer moments. Lyra sat down, her body slowly relaxing as Alex maintained the peaceful atmosphere. "You understand?" she said softly, almost in disbelief. "Most beings do not. They panic or flee, but you endure." Alex shrugged, though he felt a swell of pride. "I'm learning, and I want to help." The solar storm persisted, but the apartment became a small island of stability. Alex and Lyra settled into a rhythm, periods of calm, brief meals, observation, and careful interaction. Alex began to anticipate Lyra's needs before she even expressed them. She responded with subtle signs of trust, soft hums, relaxed tendrils, and calm movements. Humor began to find its way into their days. During one attempt to arrange cushions and mats for Lyra to move freely, Alex tripped and stumbled into a pile of soft mats. Lyra paused mid-step, her tendrils quivering in a way that Alex interpreted as amusement. "You are clumsy," she said softly, and Alex laughed despite himself. "I prefer the term gracefully challenged," he replied, brushing himself off. Her laugh a delicate, melodic sound filled the apartment, and for a moment, the tension of the lockdown lifted. Alex realized that humor, even small and human, could help ease the intensity of Lyra's heat cycle. It was a connection that required no words, no shared language beyond observation and empathy. As the days passed, Alex noticed more subtle changes. Lyra began to move closer when he was present, though still respecting boundaries. She allowed him to assist with minor adjustments, moving small objects, providing water, or arranging the environment without the tension that had characterized the early days. Trust was deepening, and with it, a mutual understanding that neither had expected. One afternoon, during the peak of another heat cycle, A minor power fluctuation caused a sudden flicker of lights. Lyra flinched, and Alex immediately moved to stabilize the system. "It's okay," he said calmly. "I've got it." Lyra's body relaxed gradually, and she sat down on the couch, curling slightly. "Remarkable," she whispered. "I did not expect a human to manage this. Most flee or fail, but you endure. You adapt." Alex smiled. "I'm just paying attention, that's all." Her golden eyes softened. "It is more than that. You observe, you anticipate, and you care. That is human strength. You remind me that not all humans are fragile." The lockdown eventually began to lift. The solar storm's intensity diminished, and colony authorities started to open travel channels for residents to leave their apartments. Alex felt a mixture of relief and hesitation. Leaving meant life could return to normal, but it also meant the structured environment he had created to help Lyra would change. Lyra seemed to sense his thoughts. "The outside is unpredictable," she said. "It will be a test, but you have strength. You have learned patience, and that is rare. I trust you." Alex nodded. "And I trust you. I've learned a lot from you too." When the apartment doors finally unlocked, Alex stepped outside cautiously. He expected relief or distraction, but he found his thoughts returning to Lyra. She was moving freely, adjusting her environment independently, yet still glancing at him occasionally, seeking reassurance. Over the following days, they continued to live together, but the dynamic had shifted. Alex was no longer merely observing. He was engaging actively, guiding, and interacting in ways that deepened their connection. Lyra shared more about her planet, her customs, and the way her species managed biological cycles. Alex shared stories of Earth, of human habits and culture, and even small humor-filled anecdotes. One evening, as the artificial sunset filtered through the apartment windows, Lyra approached Alex. "You have patience beyond expectation, and kindness. Most humans do not show such qualities." Alex felt warmth in his chest. "We learn, and sometimes we are surprised by the things we can do." Her tendrils brushed lightly against the air near him, a subtle gesture of affection. "I am grateful you have helped me endure, not just the cycles, but the confinement, the uncertainty. You make the strange less frightening." Alex smiled, understanding more fully than words could express. Humans had the ability to connect with others, even beings completely unlike themselves. Compassion, observation, and empathy allowed for bonds that transcended biology and culture. Days turned into weeks, and their shared life settled into a balanced rhythm. Lyra's cycles continued, but Alex managed them with growing confidence. He had learned triggers, calming methods, and even small ways to anticipate her needs. She responded with gratitude, subtle affection, and a trust that grew stronger with each passing day. Humor remained a crucial part of their interactions. Accidental spills, tripping over mats, and playful gestures became moments of connection, diffusing tension and creating memories they could share. Alex realized that even in the most unusual circumstances, laughter was universal, a bridge between species and experiences. One morning, Alex found Lyra sitting by the window, watching the colony below. "Do you ever wonder what life would be like elsewhere?" he asked gently. Lyra turned, her golden eyes thoughtful. "Yes, I wonder about Earth, about humans, about how different life can be. But I also realize it is not the place, but the being with whom you share it. You have made this place bearable, even joyful." Alex felt a deep sense of pride and connection. "I've learned from you too, not just about your species, but about patience, trust, and adapting to what seems impossible." She smiled, a soft glow radiating from her skin. "Then we have taught each other, and perhaps that is the greatest lesson." Their bond continued to grow, strengthened by shared experience, mutual respect, and understanding. Alex realized that humans had unique strengths, the ability to observe, adapt, and care in ways that could transcend barriers, species, and challenges. Lyra's presence had been a test of these qualities, and he had risen to it. The final days of the lockdown brought relief and freedom. But Alex and Lyra's relationship had transformed. They were no longer just roommates, they were companions, who had endured challenges together, shared vulnerabilities, and discovered trust in the most unusual circumstances. As the colony returned to normal, Alex reflected on the experience. The solar storm had trapped them together. Lyra's cycles had tested him, and yet they had thrived. The apartment that had once been a confined space of tension had become a place of learning, growth, and connection. One evening, as Alex prepared a simple meal, Lyra approached, her glow gentle and steady. "Tomorrow, I will begin a new cycle. But I am less afraid now. You have helped me endure. I trust you will guide me again." Alex nodded, smiling. "We'll face it together. I've learned a lot, and I know you've taught me more than I ever expected." Lyra's tendrils moved lightly in the air, a subtle gesture of appreciation. "Then our journey continues, and perhaps we are stronger for it." Alex realized she was right. Humans and aliens trapped together had discovered something fundamental: the strength to endure, adapt, and care for others even in the most unfamiliar and challenging circumstances. Thus, it was a lesson in empathy, trust, and connection. And as the artificial night settled over the colony, the apartment was quiet, but filled with a soft warmth. Alex and Lyra had survived the storm, navigated biological intensity, and formed a bond that would last far beyond the lockdown. They had proven that understanding, patience, and humanity's unique adaptability could overcome even the most alien of challenges. As he lay down that night, Alex felt a deep sense of accomplishment. He had faced the strange and unpredictable, learned to care for another being, and discovered the power of trust and empathy. Of sorts, and Alex drifted into sleep, confident that whatever came next, they would face it together. The colony outside had returned to order, but inside apartment 7B, a human and an alien had discovered something extraordinary: the enduring strength of connection, the value of patience, and the capacity to care for others even when everything about them was unfamiliar. And that, Alex realized, was something no storm, no lockdown, and no